Hey guys, so today we're going to show you how with Docker you can not run as root. So that could mean different things. So we're going to show you how to run the Docker client without root access. So how you can run Docker commands, start and stop containers without being logged in as root as a regular user. And then we're going to show you how to define an image that will create a container that also runs as non-root, so that container won't have root permissions either. So we're going to show you how to do both of those things. Yeah, so run the Docker client without root access. Define an image that runs as non-root, and run the Docker daemon as non-root. So you might want to do all of those things. So let's give that a shot. And yeah, I actually don't think we're going to be running the Docker daemon itself as non-root. But in any case, let's just jump in there and take a look at. The first thing we're going to do, run the Docker client without root access. So right now, I'm logged into a host system, no root access right now. I'm going to become root and add my access, then exit out of the root account and then show you how I can do it without root access. So right now, I'm logged in as user one. So if I try to say Docker PS, I have a permission denied, so I can't even access that socket. No permission to do anything with Docker, right? So we can add that permission as root, right? So I log in as root. Now, to grant user one access to run things as not as to do stuff with Docker, basically, I'm gonna paste this command in here. So actually, before I do that, I'm gonna show you the groups file. Now you could do this by just editing the etc group file. So if you look down here at the bottom, there is the Docker group right here, and you would just put you basically just at the end you would say user one, so user one like that, and that would grant the permission. But we're not going to do that, right? So exit out of that without changing it. So you see here, I'm not a member of that group. User one is not a member of Docker. So we can also add it by using the user mod command. So we're going to say user mod a g docker user one. So paste that in here. User mod dash a capital G docker user one, and enter that in. Now if you check inside etc group, you see down here at the bottom it has added user one to the Docker group. Now let's quit out of this. Now let's exit out of root, and we're logged in as user one. Now this is still not going to work if we try to run a Docker command. Still permission denied. That's because to pick up that group membership, we need to exit out of this currently logged in session and reconnect. And there we go. New fresh connection. There we are. So let's try running a Docker command now. We're same host as user one, run Docker PS, and it works. We can actually run Docker commands and do stuff with containers. So let's see. The Docker group should already, yeah. So if the Docker group didn't exist, in that previous command, if that Docker group didn't exist, you would want to add it like this: group add Docker. When you're logged in as root, you'd say group add Docker, and that would add it. So we don't need to do that because the Docker group was added by default when we installed the Docker package. So we don't need to add that, and we are not actually going to do that at all. So skip that. If we did want to do that, we'd want to become root first. But in any case, so there's that. We've now granted a regular user to run Docker commands, which is normally what you'd want to do. You don't want to do everything as root. Now, let's say you want to create a container that runs as non-root. So you can do that by creating an image that runs as non-root. So let's edit our Docker file. So let's take a look here. Docker file. So we're going to edit our Docker file, and we see I've actually already put something in here. So I'm saying from Ubuntu run user add -u 1000 user one user one. So what this does, the first thing this does is say from Ubuntu. So that says we're going to base this new image that we're creating on the existing Ubuntu image. So you're going to need to have Ubuntu on your system. So it's going to take that default Ubuntu image. It's going to build upon that and create a new image, basically modifying that existing image. So you start with Ubuntu, right? And then you say run user add. This is going to add this user, a user with the user ID of 1000 and the username of user1. So my current user that I'm logged in as is called user1, and the user ID for that user is 1000. So then we're going to specify user. This is the user that the container is going to run as, and we specify user1, the user that we had just added. And that's basically as simple as that is. So we've defined that in our Docker file. So let's build it. So we're going to say docker build -t my image, and dot. The dot will specify our current directory, because I've placed the Docker file in my current directory. Normally you'd place that in like a project directory or something, but in this case I just threw it in my home directory just because I'm testing it out. Not how you'd normally do that. You'd normally put this in a separate project directory. In any case, let's just run this to build the image, and there we go. Built it pretty quickly because we only had to add a few tiny modifications to the existing Ubuntu image. So there we go. Now let's take a quick look at this. We can say docker run -rm my image and ID. So let's take a look at this, and this, whoops, and I'm missing a dash there. All right, --rm my image ID. So that is going to show you the IDs that this is going to run as. So it shows you the user, user1, group user1, groups user1, so all as user1. Now let's say if we wanted to inspect the Ubuntu image that this was based on. Ubuntu, Ubuntu, there we go. So when we check the Ubuntu image, we see the user ID is root, the group ID is root, groups root. It's all root, right? Runs by root as default, because Docker containers will generally run as root by default. So if you were to run, if you'd run that same command on my image instead of Ubuntu, see this is the image name, this is the new image, run that, and you see instead of being root, it is user1 that it runs as. So we now have an image that will run as user1. So let's try to create a container out of that just to show you how you do that. So docker run -tid. Let's see here. Docker run -tid. Docker ps-a, we can see my image is running. So there you go. We have we've run docker run -gid my image, and we can see my image is running and Ubuntu is running, both up and running. And I think that's pretty much everything that I wanted to show you about how to run Docker containers as non-root. So that's pretty much everything that I wanted to cover for today. All right, so hopefully you found this video useful, and you might want to give me a thumbs up. Also, you want to hit that subscribe button because we have a lot more videos like this, and we have a ton of other great tech-related content. We cover a wide variety of things, everything from like Linux to servers, hardware, software, electronics, Raspberry Pis, 3D printing, cryptocurrencies, Linux, Windows, Mac OS, all sorts of great stuff you're not going to want to miss out on. Robots, programming, coding, all that sort of great stuff. Anything DevOps or software developer related, a lot of Linux stuff. So if you don't want to miss out on that stuff and you want your YouTube feed to be all that much better, definitely hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on the great content we have coming up after this. You might want to also check out some of our existing content too. Also, hit the little bell icon, otherwise YouTube won't let you know when we do come out with new videos, and you don't want to miss out on those. And also leave a comment down below if you know something that I don't know, or if you have any questions, comments, criticisms, anything you want to say, not just for me but for the next person who watches this video. Definitely leave a comment down below. And that is about it for today. So as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on that next video.